episode 12 of my podcast. This is my fortnightly vlog about knitting, crochet, spinning and anything else that seems like a good idea at the time. I'm coming to you from rural North Yorkshire in the north of England, where I live with my husband, our 3 daughters and 3 cats. You can find me on social media on Instagram as Mel Browne Crafting Podcast. I'm on Ravelry as Funky40. And the show notes for this will be on a clickable link down below. They're crossed in Ravelry. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast. If you just search Mel Browne Crafting Podcast, you'll find it. And that's where the show notes are, but you can click on the link here to find that. Everything I talk about, if you want to know more, it's there. So, it's very, very hot and sunny here. We've had a heat wave for weeks. And so this is why I'm wearing the bare minimum. It's non-knitwear weather, which is not nice for us crafters, is it? Right, we've got a lot on today. We've got Where Are They Now, as always. New whips on the block. Something new. Spinning. And the giveaway. Yay! I said I'd do a giveaway at 100 subscribers. I got to 100 and then I lost one. So I'm back down to 99, but I don't care. I'm just going to give it away anyway. And then a little bit of an update on Creative Escape. And then we're done. So, let's get started. You'll notice, those of you who have watched before, there's a little gap where a tiny Siamese cat should live. The sunshine is so bright here, I can't compete. One little hot water bottle cannot compete with a beautiful sunny day. So she'll be out there in the garden, sunning herself, enjoying it. She was on the lid of the bin earlier on because it's metal, so she loves it. We might hear a cat marching through at some point, but generally they're outside. So, sorry about that. Right. Okay, where are they now? What happened to the projects that you saw last time? I'm not going to talk about the Memories and Garden Flowers blankets. It's the summer and they are definitely in hibernation at the moment. Much loved and will be continued, but not working on them at the moment. Wisteria trellis. That hasn't been hibernating, it just had a little nap in the corner and now it's woken up. I haven't given it much attention recently. This is in my 4C's Mad bag. When I talked to you last time, I wasn't really enjoying it very much, and when something shiny happened along, I left it for a while. So, this is Wisteria Trellis by Joanne Scrace. It's in the book 4 of the Shawl Project. I'll show you a picture of what it's going to look like. And here is mine so far. So that's the first colour. Again, the morning light in here doesn't really show you. It needs to be blocked as well. Look, these little bits are sticking, not sticking up. So really, this is all the progress. This is where I was at when I last spoke to you. And this is where I'm at now. So very little progress. Each of these points is a pattern repeat. So I've got to the stage now where I'm really not enjoying it, but I really, really want to do it, and it's really pretty, and I've got all the yarn, and I know I'll love the second part. So I've set myself a target of doing 1 pattern repeat every day before I do anything else, really. So that should take me about 3 weeks maybe to get through the rest of that, and then I'll be able to start on the other part. So that's that one. I'm looking forward to working with the main yarn, which is Exmoor sock. I'm not showing that very well, am I? Can you see that? It likes the colour of the background, doesn't it? That's Exmoor sock. Oh, there it is. I'm looking forward to working with that for the main body. But for now, not yet. Oh, I'm in a bit of a mess already. Right. Rockin' Rose. This is a Martina Bame project. Now, I've made a bit of a mess of this, really. I switched colours and then I did a couple of rows, and there's markers to say you have to increase and there's markers to say you have to decrease, and I mustn't have been concentrating because I got them muddled up. And I looked at the project after about 2 or 3 rows in the new colour and I thought, oh, I've messed that up. So I tinked back, you know, by tink I mean just taking it back 1 stitch at a time rather than taking the needles out and ripping it back. I don't do that very well because picking up the stitches after that is just horrendous, and I always make a dog's dinner of it. So I tinked back. So I tinked back a couple of rows and I re-knitted it and it was still wrong. And I tinked back a couple of rows and I re-knitted it and it was still wrong. So I got annoyed with it and put it in a corner and left it. Ooh. Shiloh. Hello. My little baby's here. Meow. Did you hear that? She talks to me. You probably heard me talk to her before. You coming up? Meow. She has loved what I've been making this week. Absolutely loved it. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I put it in the corner, angry with it, and then after a week I got it out and I apologised, and we moved on. So I tinked it right back to the new colour, took the new colour out, went back to the old colour, and I counted my stitches and I was already wrong at that point, which is probably why it kept going wrong. So I then just at that point decided I'd had enough tinking. Shiloh, come on. And so I just bodged it. Basically I had 3 stitches too few. So the next 2 rows I surreptitiously increased. Not the bold in your face yarn over increase that I've been doing for the rest of the pattern. But the surreptitious, oh my goodness, knit front and back to increase over the next 2 rows to up to where I should be. There you go. And that got it back to where it should be, and I've carried on. I don't think you'll be able to see where I've made a mistake, and I don't really care. But the delay has meant that it's definitely not a birthday present, because Mum-in-law's birthday is Saturday. We're going down on Saturday. She lives in Hertfordshire, which is about 3.5 hours drive from us. So we're going down there on Saturday to have a birthday party with her. So it's not a birthday present. But the good news is that means I've started my Christmas knitting. Yay! Earlier than usual, actually. She's starting our summer holiday. So that's ready to carry on for Christmas. Yeah, I've got plenty of time now, so I'm not in a hurry anymore. But it's a lovely pattern. I really enjoy it. Have I shown it to you yet? No, chatting away about it. There's not much to see, to be honest, because this is the stitch marker there, is where I was up to, so I've got the bottom of it. I love how crisp, oh sorry, I've got hairy armpits. I love how crisp the colour changes are. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with my colour choices. I suspect I wasn't alone when I chose these. I suspect I had some help from somebody else, but there they are. So I was, where's my little stitch marker gone? I was here when I last spoke to you, and now I'm here. Not very far, but if you consider what I've actually knitted, it's a bit further because I've knitted and tinked. So we're back on progress we're back on with that. Excellent. Right, that's Rockin' Rose. Okay. Corner to corner blanket. I had started it with scrap yarn, and it was really I was kind of started it really quickly just to have it started for a course I was teaching on stash busting, and I got as far as this with it with my foot for scale, and then I decided that I didn't like the fabric, it was too stiff. I had just grabbed the first hook that was in the right ballpark. It was a 5.5mm, and it was chunky yarn, so it really wasn't the right hook. So I then made it into this, and started again. It felt like a big decision because there was a lot of work already done on it, but there's a lot of the blanket, but there wasn't a lot of work because it grows so quickly. I have never known a project that grows as quickly as this does. So yesterday I finished it. It's difficult to show. I am going to show it to you, but here's a picture of it in its full glory. So here it is. It's just beautiful, really is. Yeah, you've seen it in its entirety. So we started down in the bottom corner with stuff that really was just scraps. That's all I had left of that, and that's all I had left of that, and I had quite a bit of this, that's all I had left of that. And then this was the thing I had lots of, and I got to about here, and I realised that I wasn't going to have enough scraps. And I mentioned that last time and said that I might use my double knit scraps held twice, but I decided I didn't want to do that for lots of reasons. One, seeing how fast this project had burned through yarn, I didn't want to lose all of my double knit scraps, and because I'd be using it twice, they'd go pretty quick, and I knew I would end up with, instead of this, you know, you can see it's all rows, yeah, it's at least 2 rows, at least 1 row, full row, usually 2 or more of each yarn before it changes. And if I was going to use the double knit scraps, it would be part rows, so it'd all be patchy, and you'd lose the, I didn't want to do that, and it also didn't want to leave myself with no DK scraps left if I wanted to make some more flowers for my garden flowers. So I went to my local yarn shop, Yarn Etc. in Harrogate, and I bought some more yarn. It felt really silly to be buying more yarn to finish a scrap blanket, but there you go. So I bought this one and some cream. So before I finished the variegated I'd used before, I brought in the new variegated and finished off the last. But this variegated is really weird. Look at the way it's pulled. So bearing in mind it's worked that way across, all the greens in it, there's a solid 2 solid green bits, and then all this variegated stuff, it's pulled completely. So there's a whole variegated chunk. So that really wasn't, again, that's going back to what I was saying about the double knit, it's not really what I wanted, but I don't mind too much. Oh, I can't see what I'm showing you, so it's no good, is it? It was a slightly different effect to what I was looking for, but that was okay. And then I carried on to the corner, and I started, didn't make it square, I made it rectangular, so I was decreasing on one corner, on one edge, and increasing on the other for a little while, and then carried on. And then I realised that I was going to run out of yarn again, so I went back and bought some more. And then I made possibly a bad decision. I put in 2 yarns, this one here, there we go, and this one here, which have quite a high wool content. Now these ones are acrylic, so it was potentially an easy wash blanket, but I managed to mess that up by putting in wool. But it's okay, I don't have babies anymore, and I don't imagine it's going to need to be thrown in the washing machine very often. Got right to the end and ran out here. So this is double knit, held twice, just to finish it off. So yeah, it's done. I don't know if I obsessed a lot about this last time, but I'm going to obsess about it now. It is the most fun project, because I love projects that start with the small bit and then you increase, because it's not too intimidating. You get, you know, a big long way before you get long rows, and it just makes a great start to the project. But I also love projects that end on the small end, because then as you're working toward that, every row takes less time, and you build up this kind of head of steam as you're going along, and everything comes faster and faster and faster and faster. Ah, so exciting. I don't know about you, but once I can smell the end of a project, I find it hard to put it down. I just get totally focused on it. So I love both ends of this project. You've got the best of both worlds. You've got a small beginning and a small end. I love it. Among other things, it grows really, really quickly. I love the fact that the direction of the stitches changes from that way to that way. It just looks so clever. It's so easy to do. You can do it in poor light because you can feel your way. You're not trying to work out where to put your hook. You're going into a chain 3 space. And it's just amazing. So if you've got a lot of stash in chunky or Aran or even DK, it doesn't really matter. You could do DK on its own or DK held twice. You could even do 4-ply if you wanted. I mean, you know, hey, do what you like. But it grows so quickly. So 11 days from restarting, and 11 of the hottest days this year in this country. And I've been sat with a Siamese cat insisting on sitting on my lap on the blanket, and this blanket wrapped on me. And I've been trying to hold it aside so it's not on me, but it's not really possible to do that all the time. So I've been melting, but I still couldn't put this down. It was so enjoyable. So the C2, I don't think it's it's not a single pattern that, you know, was created by somebody. I think it's a concept that's been used for a long time. I've probably already put up here who wrote the actual pattern that I used, but it's very, very simple. Okay, is that enough about this? Oh, it's so lovely. And the children have already claimed it. They want it down here as a lap blanket, and they want me to make an even bigger one. And Shiloh, the Siamese, has already claimed it as well. She loves it, so I expect she'll be sitting on it tonight if I can bear to leave it down here. So that's my corner to corner blanket. Did I say everything I wanted to say about that? Yes. Right, the Tunisian crochet in the round hat that I'd started. Okay, so this was Stan that you met last week, or Stan as my children call him. I don't know why. There he is. Crochet hook at both ends and 6mm. So I just pulled 2 random yarns out of my stash and that I thought went together, and I'm really, really pleased with the way they go together. And with the Tunisian simple stitch, it looks like it's kind of woven. I think it's a really pretty effect. I'm just at the stage where I want to start decreasing now. Decreasing in Tunisian crochet is really, really simple. So I don't wear hats because I just don't really have the kind of face that can cope with having my hair obscured. So I think I'm going to start decreasing now. And it's curling, which is, you know, a design feature for some patterns, but I don't want it to do that because I want you to see as much of the colour as you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that and do a rib, a 1x1 Tunisian rib when the hat's done. I'm a little worried that I'm going to run out of yarn. I've got quite a lot of this, and this there's a lot in my garden flowers, and I've still got another ball and a half of that. But the blue, not very much. So my design partner Linda has looked out some similar yarn for me, and I'm going to get that knit group next week, and I'll probably use that. It looks like a bit like the sort of child of these two, because it's oh, I can't remember the make of it. Put it up here. It's kind of a heathered navy blue, so it's got bits of both. So I think it will tie them together quite nicely to do that, and hopefully this will get through to the crown. But we'll see. I'm kind of following this pattern of a YouTube tutorial, which no, I won't put it up here because it won't be any use to you, will it? I will put it in the show notes, the link to the tutorial. So yeah, that's gone well. I haven't put a marker on where I was when I spoke to you last, but I was down here somewhere. So yeah, it's slow progress because unlike normal Tunisian crochet, the stitch at the front, the vertical bar that you're picking up with your hook, is really quite tight, and it takes me a long time to get my hook through it. I don't know why that is. But anyway, it's enjoyable, and I love the way the colours are coming out. Such a good choice of use of this kind of yarn with a short repeat. I don't like to knit with it really because the repeats are very, very short. I think I've just undone a couple of stitches. That wasn't very wise. Yeah, so that starts with blue there and it's gone to purple there. So it's a very short repeat, so you don't get a row of a colour depending on what you're making. And it's beautiful in the ball, but finding the right project for me is a bit of a challenge. So this is perfect for it because you get to see all the beauty of it. So anyway, that's coming along well. I'm really enjoying just pottering with that, not in any hurry. It's probably going to be used as a sample for one of my courses. I'm going to do a Improvers Tunisian crochet course, and that might be something that we use for that. So that's what that is. What else? The Tunisian Wingspan. Who's that by? So the Wingspan is originally a knit pattern, and there's a Tunisian crochet version of it which I had shown you last week. So here it is. I finished it. So you were up to about here, somewhere in the middle of this one, when I spoke to you last. Now the colours are not the one colour. It's one of those cakes. Let me show you what it is. It's Woolcraft cakes. So it's one that looks like it's a kind of fade, like the Scapious, whatever it is, whirl ones. Those really nice cakes that have that slow fade because they've got 4 plies and then they've got 4 of one colour, then they bring in 3 of a colour and 1 of a different colour, then 2 of each, then 3 and 1, and then they fade slowly. This isn't like that. It's a sudden colour change, and it's in blocks. And the blocks, sadly, was similar to mine but not the same. So you can see you've got a slightly different colour there. That's Tunisian reverse stitch. Then I did the honeycomb stitch there. You can see the colour change is a bit annoying. And then this was crossed stitch. And then, so this was new. You haven't seen this one. What's that? That's a good question. Don't know. That one is, oh, I've written them all down. They're all on the project page, on my projects. And then that one, which is, yeah, that's cross stitch but staggered, as it were. And now you can see the colour change really being annoying. It kind of almost worked there, didn't it? And then, yeah, it's not good here because it just changes in time to finish this off, so it looks weird. But anyway, and then there's a rib there, and then the point at the end. So that's the whole beast. I ran out of yarn just before the end, so you're supposed to do one all the way around this kind of neckline and then come back with a second. Didn't quite make it back with a second, but you wouldn't really notice. So it's done. I'm not sure how wearable it is, to be honest. As a kind of cape type thing with a shawl pin or something, it's more for display than actual warmth. But I mean, I didn't knit it. I didn't make it to use. I made it for the course, really, as a sample for the course. But obviously people are going to want to wear it if they're going to make one. So I don't know. Have you got a wingspan? Did you make one? Did you knit one? Did you crochet one? Did you knit and crochet one? Do you find it wearable? I'd love to know, because it's a really popular pattern, and when it's blocking, it's like pinned out, it looks absolutely beautiful. But whether it's actually practical, I don't know. But I love this. I really, really enjoyed trying out the different stitches from the books that I showed you last time. And it's just lovely, really good fun. So that's that one done. And that is my Where Are They Now? Oh, do you know what? I forgot to show you. I got all these out to show you. Silly me. From the blanket. I mean, all the yarns I used, well, the ones that weren't just scrap yarns that I had no idea where they came from. This was the variegated ones, the greens and whatever. The scrap ones that I've had for years, most of them I don't even have the ball bands from. But these, that's the pinks. What's that one? So it's all on my project page anyway. Right, that's the Where Are They Nows. New whips on the block. So I've got one. I started a pair of socks. So my design partner, I'll talk about her a bit. I'll probably paint a very strange picture of her actually. She designs really lovely, amazing projects, and I design really simple, basic ones, so she charges for her patterns and I don't. But she is in the middle of designing, well, she's designing and I'm knitting a new pair of socks. Our patterns are under the name of Opus, so they all have a number, Opus 100, Opus whatever. Baby! Got a little black cat, come up to say hello. Come on then. You're going to come say hello? Excuse for the interruption. Come on then. Oh, here he is. He loves a cuddle. Such a lovely boy. He loves to have his nose rubbed. There he is. He says, put me down. Okay, he'll sit on my lap, I think. So, she's designed Opus. And it's a sock. Oh. No. And I am test knitting it in this, which I got from the Stephen and Penelope shop in Amsterdam in May. The colourway is Rare Exports. It's 80% merino and 20% just at 20%, but it will be 20% nylon, won't it? Superwash, and there it is. It's lovely. So these are for my husband. Sorry. Oh my goodness. And I'm not going to show you the stitch pattern yet, so I'm going to make that a bit more of a surprise, but here we go. So that's how the yarn is coming out. It's funny, if this was lots of different colours, I really wouldn't like this at all. I don't like that kind of speckled, you know, the whole pattern seems to get lost. But because it's all one colour, just different shades of it, I love it. I really, really like it. So, as usual, I've got them both on the go at the same time. I think I'm going to need 6 pattern repeats, and I'm part way through the 5th, so before I turn the heel, and I'll show you all the pattern when it's published. So yeah, that's really lovely. 2.75mm needle, which of course is a US size 2, she says from memory. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, really enjoying those. Really, you know, I suppose we all have our different preferences, but I really like a pattern that has enough interest so it's not just plain stockinette, because I can do plain stockinette, but I'd rather have a little bit more interest. But I don't want to be consulting a pattern all the time. I want to be able to memorise it, and I want to be able to look at my knitting and know where I am with it. And that's what I've got. I've got a little marker here, a little Fripperies and Bibelots marker. And this is a 12-row pattern, so 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm 7 rows in, and every time I knit a row, obviously I move it along one so I know where I am. And I can work out from the row number and looking at the knitting where I am in the pattern. And I can work out how many pattern repeats I've done by looking at the socks. So it's perfect for me. I'm really enjoying it. And don't you think they're quite different? This one is a lot darker than this one. Obviously it's just 2 balls wound from the same skein, but they looked quite a bit different to me. I guess it'll all come out in the wash. And I'm using my cardboard foot. This is my hubby's cardboard foot to measure when I'm ready to turn the heel, because I'm just doing a German short row heel. So that's coming along nicely. That's the new whips on the block. So my whip count is now 6. 7 last week, but I finished 2 objects and only started 1, so that's 6. Excellent. Something new. Oh, this is exciting. So I told you a little bit last time or the time before about Northshire yarns. I wasn't sure if it was Northshire or Northshire, but it turns out that Annika, who runs it, is a big Lord of the Rings fan, as am I. In fact, my brother was in the end of the first film as an extra. Very exciting. So, Northshire Yarns, I'm collaborating with them on my business, Creative Escape, and they're going to be providing yarns for that and pop-up shop and all kind of things. So I was desperate to get my hands on some, and some arrived in my local yarn shop. So here's their logo, Annie's logo, and this colourway is Tula. So as you can see from that, it is, it's 400 metres for 100 grams, it's a standard 4-ply. It's 70% baby alpaca, it's 20% silk and 10% cashmere. Here it is. Oh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's got a slight halo on it. Can you see that? Yeah. Those colours. Oh, look at this. This one. I haven't unwound the skein yet because I wanted to show it to you while it was still pretty. I think if you become a yarn dyer, you've got to probably go on a course to learn how to twist skeins. I don't know. I've seen Molly of A Handmade House do it, and she sort of has it under her chin and stuff, so I don't know if that's the way to do it. But there it is. Unwound. Just gorgeous colours. So I'm really, really pleased with that. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. I haven't a clue. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know. Because I would love to. I don't want to put it in with something else, and because I haven't got anything else that's of this quality, and I don't want to mix it with ruffians. So I would like one skein project for it, obviously something around my neck because it's so soft. It would be a waste not to wear it around my neck. See, I could just wear it like that, couldn't I? Yeah, that'll work. Okay, don't worry with projects. No, do. If you've got any ideas, one skein projects for a 4-ply, 400 metres, gorgeously soft. Let me know. Right, that's something new. Got fibre in my mouth now. Spinning. Last time we spoke, I said I was going to try and find a space in my week for regular spinning. And I had a lot of a think about it. It took me a while to get the hang of it actually, but then I decided, this is a suggestion from hubby actually, excuse me, he suggested how about, because I work from home 4 days a week, that I have a 11 o'clock on a working from home day in the morning. I stop work and I just do a little bit of something for me, spinning, and then come back and get back to work, which sounds like a brilliant idea. So I gave it a go. I set an alarm on my phone. And on Monday when it went off, I was like, too busy, can't do it now. On Tuesday when it went off, I did some spinning. Yesterday I was at work. I'll go out to work on a Wednesday morning. So today, when the alarm goes off at 11, I will do it again. So that's the plan. So it'll be 4 days a week and probably at weekends as well. I'll do half an hour spinning. It's not that not getting around to it isn't because I don't like it. I love it when I do it. I absolutely love it. But because if I'm just sitting down on the sofa here, I'll just put my feet up and I've got a knitting bag here. I've got to be in a different position if I'm spinning. I've got to be sat somewhere where I've got something in front of me, a table, but I can open my legs and let my spindle drop down between. And so it's not a standard thing that I would do in the standard places that I do stuff. So I'm going to sneeze in a minute, so I'll cut that out. So I just have to make time for it because I really, really want to do it and I enjoy it, but it's an effort. So that's that. So on Tuesday I did this much. So this is a beautiful drop spindle from Spin City. I've got a couple of these. This one's mine and this one's my daughter's. It might be the other way around. Anyway, she's not spinning these days, so I've inherited it. Doll Belly, my mate, is going to possibly start spinning, so she might inherit it. So I weighed this and I weighed that, and this is about 11 grams. You can see that my technique is improving, but it's still very varied. Look at the differences between the thin and the thick. So I don't mind that at all. I've actually spent good money on thick and thin yarn, so I'm not bothered. And then the other stuff that I've spun from the colourful bat, I'm going to apply the two together. So one of the coloured ones and one of the cream ones to make a ball. I'm just desperate to get some yarn made so that I can knit with it or crochet with it or something. Because it seems like a long time that I've been messing about with this and not actually been able to produce anything. So hopefully next time I'll have quite a bit more to show you. Right, that was spinning. What else is there? What else? The giveaway! Yay! Right, I've been so excited about this. So a little while ago I bought 2 skeins of yarn from Biff Sugar Yarns on Etsy. And one of them was for me and one of them was for you, and it took me a while to decide. But I used mine on this. Now this one is a little bit more variegated than yours. Tonal, whatever you call it. It's a bit more varying in colour, but you can see how beautifully it knits up. This is Rita Socks by Danny George. Colour's gone all mad. Okay, so that's how it knits up. It's absolutely gorgeous, and let me show you the beast. It's been wrapped in tissue paper. This is Lather. That's the colourway, so you can see the differences are not quite as marked as with my one. There is the tag, Biff Sugar Yarns, and there it is. So it's a skein of sock yarn, and I'm happy to send this out anywhere in the world. So all you need to do to take part is put a comment on YouTube, so just down below, but a public comment on to this video. So you could answer one of the questions I've already asked, like suggestion for a pattern for that gorgeous Northshire Yarns skein, or what else? I remember I asked something else. What did I ask? Anyway, or just a comment about something I've said, something you've enjoyed, something you've liked, something that's you've done that project before, or something like that. Not necessarily about this episode. You could comment about another episode, but obviously make the comment on this episode, otherwise I won't be able to pick it up for the giveaway. So pop a comment on down below, anything you like, and then on Wednesday the 1st of August at midnight, that's the last time for comments. And on the Thursday morning before I record the podcast, I will get them all put into a spreadsheet. I mean, there might only be 2, but however many there are, I'll get them ready, and then I'll do a random number generator, and whoever wins will get the skein. So you'll have to get in contact with me to give me your address, and I will post it out to you. There it is. How exciting. Right, is that it? I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. If you got all the way to the end, well done. I will be back with you in 2 weeks' time to do the giveaway. If you enjoyed the video, please click the thumbs up, and if you want to see more, then click subscribe and the little bell, and you'll get notified when a new one comes up. Pop a comment down below to enter the giveaway. We're still doing a knit along for the Bird of Fire shawl, so that's on the Ravelry page. There's a thread for that. People are still doing theirs. It's not too late to start if you fancy having a go at that. And if you're out and about on a Wednesday afternoon in UK time, and you're knitting, or even if you're in and you're knitting, post on Instagram, post as a picky and tag virtual knit group. And we're doing the same, all of my knitty friends, so you should pick up a post or 2 on there. And that is about it. I'm just gonna grab a cat so we can say goodbye together. Happy crafting, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.